So for the moss stitch, we always need to start with any even number of the foundation chain. So how we do it, we do the slip knot and then yarn over, pull up the loop, yarn over, pull up the loop. This is how you make your foundation chains. And how you count it, that when you can see it from the top, you can see the V shapes. So one V shapes is one chain, and we don't count the loop on your hook as a chain, so whatever is below. So make any even number of the foundation chains, and then let's start to make the moss stitch. So here's my even number of the foundation chain, and now let's start to make the first row. So even moss stitch, it's out of the single crochet and the chain spaces. So now first single crochet will be in our fourth chain from the hook. So like I mentioned, we don't count this loop on our hook as a first chain, but whatever is below. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Also, what I like to do is that I'm not inserting the hook into the V shape like most crocheters do. I love to do it in the back, so when I turn it, you can see the bump. So basically one bump is one chain. So whenever I'm saying that I'll insert the hook into the chain, I'm going to be inserting my hook into the back bump. So like I mentioned, let's do into the fourth chain. So we skip first 3 chains, and I'll explain you why. And into this fourth chain from the hook, we make our single crochet. So you just insert the hook there, yarn over, pull up the loop. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull up the loop through 2 loops. This is your single crochet. And why we skipped 3 chains, that is that one chain, we made that chain space basically. Then the second chain is our turning chain only, so it doesn't count as a stitch. And this one is the chain space. So you can see the little hole which we will be working on once we are back of the second row. So so this is just necessary to do the moss stitch. So now after the single crochet, we do chain 1, and with this chain 1, and we skip the next chain and we insert the hook into the next one, we create the chain space. So that's what we have to like alternate for the rest of the row, that we will doing the chain spaces with the single crochet. So now I created my single crochet, and here is my chain space. So now let's do it again, maybe a little bit more slowly. So after a single crochet, you will do chain 1, you will skip the next chain and insert the hook into the next one. So basically into the second one from the last stitch. And into that one, we make single crochet. So we insert the hook into the chain, yarn over, pull up the loop. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull up the loop through all 2 loops. Now we do chain 1. So we are creating the chain space. We skip the next chain and insert the hook into the next one. Yarn over, pull up the loop. We have 2 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull up the loop through 2 loops, and chain 1. So this is what you like do until the end of the row, and your last stitch should be single crochet in the last chain. So now let's just repeat this, alternating the chain 1 and single crochet. And once I'm at the end of the row, I'll show you what to do next. Alright, so now I'm about to make my last single crochet, and now I have 2 chains left, which is exactly what we need and everyone should have. So I just made my chain 1. I can skip this chain and make my last single crochet into the last chain. So now how we start our second row is that we do chain 1 and chain 2. So we make 2 chains. Then we turn the project like a book page. And now we're gonna make our first single crochet into the first chain space. So now we'll be working single crochet in each chain space. But of course, we will be creating the chain spaces too. So now we had chain 2. And now I just insert the hook into the first chain space and make my single crochet. Now chain 1. So we skip the single crochet from the previous row and insert the hook into the next chain space and make our single crochet. Chain 1, then you again will skip the single crochet from the previous row and you insert the hook and make your single crochet into the next chain space. So this is what you keep alternating until the end of the row, and your last single crochet will be into the last chain space. So now it might be a little bit harder to see the chain spaces, but if I'll tell you that the single crochet is basically this V, that it's coming like the two loops coming out of one chain, that's your single crochet. So whatever is the between the posts, that's your chain space, and this is where you should insert the hook. So I know that the first row or the second one with this stitch might be a little bit confusing, but once you get through this, then it will be way better, and then you know where to insert your hook. So now let's just continue, finish your second row with this moss stitch, and I'll show you a few, like another row, just to be sure. So now let's just alternate your chain 1, the chain space, and the single crochet into the chain spaces from the previous row. Now I'm at the end of the second row. I already made my chain 1, and now I'm about to make my last single crochet, and I want to show you the chain space. And this is exactly before we started our first row, we skipped 3 chains, so we created the chain space. So this is exactly the chain space that you make your last single crochet, just like that. And then again you will make chain 2. Then you will turn the project like a book page, and now you will just continue how we did the second row. So now we make our first single crochet into the first chain space. So with those two, with these 2 chains, when we turn, it's that we created the chain space. So now we're gonna see it actually at the end of this second row. So here, this is the 2 chains that we made when before we turning the project. So into this one you will make your last single crochet. So I hope it makes sense. And now let's continue with this pattern until your desired length and whatever your pattern wants to make you how many rows. And once I'm gonna make a little bit more, I'll show you the texture, how it looks, and that's everything what you need to know for your crochet moss stitch. Alright guys, so this is the moss stitch. We can also call this stitch as a linen stitch. So if you see that the pattern says about the linen stitch, this is the texture, this is the pattern for that. And yeah, I absolutely love it. The texture is very soft, very gentle, and it's quite a popular stitch as well. So I hope that you enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching, and also don't forget to comment any project ideas that you'd like to use this stitch. So I'm really curious, and like I said, thank you so much and happy crocheting.